you broke the one homestead, you should have done that. You need to lock a gate. Always make sure to shut the gate. Broke the rule and ruined that project. You don't do that again.
Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead, y'all. I'm Papa Pepper, and starting with raw land and attempting to build it up from scratch, turn it into a functioning homestead can be a daunting task. And part of what we're trying to do is to tame this wild wilderness and set ourselves up for the future. So I want to do a bunch of things now that then, because I did them now, in the future, my life's going to be easier, awesome, more abundant when it comes to certain things. And it's difficult enough anyway. Some days it feels like an uphill battle. And then when there's like a simple rule that's really a rule that exists on about every homestead, and for some reason your children overlook obeying it, oh, it's heart-wrenching. I woke up to Pinky Pepper screaming, "Dad!" And I tore off outside just with my shorts on, came running out in the yard, and I'm like, no. And my heart sank. I'll show you a little bit of what I've been doing, how I'm doing this, and then show you what happened. Cool thing there, see that nuke? They are very active. Let's take a peek. Recently, Red Pepper helped Mama Pepper and me each catch a swarm of honeybees. So here's the one. Wow. They are really building on that. And since they're in cardboard boxes, I'm letting them have a little bit of time, outside the elements first, and we'll work from there. The other one's out under all that stuff there to stay dry. But here we've got a lot of plants that are food-bearing plants. We eat food. Part of our homesteading journey and lifestyle is to take a bunch of this stuff, cultivate it, let it reproduce. You see, like even these strawberry plants here. Yeah, you see that little berry down there. I know you see it. But they're in pretty thick, so they could actually be thinned. But lately I'm taking all this stuff that just kind of keeps growing. Here's an example. Running in the pathway here, running in the pathway here. I cleared out the stuff from over there. Got another pile of them I got to transplant. That's what those are. And then also on the back side of this garden, all this was kind of taken care of. Cool thing is, when you got stuff reseeding itself, like all these little dills, they were just kind of all seeded through here. So as I was pulling up the weeds and working my way through, a bunch more there with some lamb's quarter and burnet. But I would just lift them and move them where I wanted. And here's where I'm going to put in a rock wall behind here to separate it from the pasture. And this is all just golden raspberries we originally got from Shalom Acres. And they're about to go again. They are starting to form their berries for the year. But you can see here are all these little ones come growing up in the path. What I do is pull them all out and then either bless other people with them, or now I'm transplanting them on our own land at the moment. So this has got to get mulched, but I wanted to have not only a nice big row here, but I want to put in a couple big rows of both the golden raspberries and the thornless blackberries. So that's what some of my propagation projects are right now. Some of the things I'm actively investing my time in, just making sure we're taking these plants, kind of letting them reproduce, and then moving them onto different places in the property. Here's an example of a little, maybe see it better there, one of the little blackberries. So that's thornless blackberry right there, propagated just from a simple little cutting. And over here, and that one pot didn't overwinter, but the other four sure did. Those are all ready to go, and they're flourishing. Here's a little section we got by the archway to the garden, and they grow from over there, and then they shoot up and over and touch the ground. Oh, they grow again. So that thing there is going to be lifted Some of these here are going to be lifted, and we're going to put in a big row of those too. But in another recent video you guys should have seen, and if not I'll put a card here, you should have seen where I decided to take some of the service berries that I've had in pots since 2017 and some of the bush cherries that I propagated, and I put them over here. Well, now I added some strawberries too. Over time, these service berries in the back row will get, I don't know, maybe 10 feet or more tall. These bush cherries here, they're going to grow quite a bit, and when they do, these strawberries are going to, you know, have spread out and tried to get out from underneath these, which are going to be big and bushy, to kind of reach some more light over here. So this is all just plants. I guess I did pay 32 cents each for the service berries, but the rest of them are just free ones. We cloned, we reproduced, we propagated. But you'll have cherries, service berries, and strawberries here now. And this is something that by investing the time and effort in putting them there now, then for years to come, they can just kind of keep growing up. I really like perennials, and even if they may not produce, you know, as much per thing, if you think about just a berry bush compared to like a tomato plant, and you weigh all the tomatoes you get off of one plant compared to all the berries you get off of one berry bush, you're probably going to wind up with a whole lot more pounds of tomatoes. But those tomatoes you got to, you know, plant every year, start the seeds every year, that type of stuff. Behind me here is another good example where we've got the wild garlic, there's clary sage, there's persimmon, there's American beautyberry, American gooseberry, pawpaw trees, elderberries, some mulberries, some radishes had been reseeding themselves. So over time, this is all going to start growing up and getting thicker and becoming more established. Oh, here's even strawberries. Look at this. It wasn't too long ago that I transplanted these strawberries here, and they're already putting on some nice fruit. But they'll fill in as a ground cover here with some of these other guys, like the garlics. And then these trees will keep growing up. Like here's elderberry, there's persimmon, there's gooseberry. A lot of different stuff growing in here. As I talk about kind of phasing out the existing stuff, there's a number of vines and bushes and ground covers and trees, which are nice. I'm glad they're here. But if I can use them, and there's a variety of ways that we can, you know, put those to use, even when we remove them and replace them with something better. If she has a cookie, it's because Mom let her have one. Isn't that cute? Yeah, but then we get to the point of what I was doing yesterday, and man, I was working hard. The only reason I stopped is she actually had an entire thing of cookies. That is not appropriate. Well, last night I uploaded pretty much 3 5-gallon buckets worth of golden raspberries, and I began working on some stuff. I've got a fence line here. That fence line's actually going to get moved back to here instead of up the back side of here. And this is an area that I'm standing in where some of the sheep used to be. Right now, they're over there on the other side of the fence. But last night, I had the little peppers move 6 young ewes, they're yearlings, and our newest ram that I think they call Buddy out of here so that I could plant this and then move the fence line. Well, what they didn't do is they didn't shut the gate. Guys, shutting gates is the #1 rule on a homestead. You walk through a gate, you shut it. So yesterday, and I was going to film a nice video and show you guys this morning, but yesterday I had an incredible row of lush green golden raspberries that I planted up this whole way. Now the ones that were taller are all nibbled back to nothing. A lot of these have been ripped out of the ground. Look at this, you know, they pulled it up out of the ground. I just planted it. The only reason I didn't mulch it last night is I couldn't see anymore, and I didn't want to get bit by a copperhead or something as it's slithering around out here. They ransacked the bucket that I still had some stuff in. They stripped all those bare. Look at that bugger. Because what happened?
Be a sheep one and they
Yeah.
didn't go out.
Yep, the kid didn't shut the gate. The sheep came in here. So on the bright side, sometimes when you transplant something, you don't step on their bug because they're still alive. Sometimes when you transplant something, you cut back the existing foliage because the root system's not established when you transplant it. In this case, that's been done for me. I've got a little bit more for a row length I want to put in, and then I'm going to mulch it, and then I'm going to water it heavily. It was really sad when I woke up, but you know, a couple things. Number one, I kept my cool. I saw what happened. Said okay, okay, that happened. Nothing I could do about it at that point other than get the sheep and the stuff back out of here. So we did that. It's a good reminder for everyone on our homestead, and therefore wanted to mention it for you guys. If you've got your own animal, your own fences, your own children, or people visiting your homestead, that you got to teach them, hey, shut gates, make sure they're locked, make sure they're closed, make sure whatever. Or if you guys, visit somebody else's homestead, always, you walk through a gate, put it back the way it was. It's just part of how life is supposed to be on the homestead, because there's gates and fences and stuff for a reason. Now this one here, like I said, it's salvageable. I've still got a bunch of stuff in there. I'll have to give an update, but the number one rule and the lesson to learn from this is shut gates on the homestead. So over here, I'm going to put in a nice long row of golden raspberries. I'm also going to put a nice long row of thornless blackberries. I'm probably going to drop a couple T-posts and run some wire over time so that I can kind of weave in between, have them grow up that way for extra support. I think that's a good idea. And what I want is just an abundance, even the name Abundant Harvest Homestead. The reason you garden, the reason you homestead is to have a harvest. The more abundant it is, the bigger of a blessing it can be to you, bigger of a blessing you can be to others, the better things work out. And we want to have enough food for our family.
Yeah.
And then we also want to have extra. Why do we want to have extra food?
Because so we can be good, so we can eat.
Yeah, but what do we do with the stuff that's extra that we're not going to eat? What could we do if we have a lot of extra food?
And we're going to put in the compost.
We could put in the compost, but let's say we've got too many strawberries. And we eat them all, and we freeze them all, and we whatever, and they're still extra. What would we do with the extra ones?
We would eat them and put them in a bag.
Okay, I'm trying to have you think about others. What do we do with, like, mustard grains? When we have extra mustard grains, what do we do? We pick them and we take them, and where do we take them?
We take them inside.
Well, we share them with others, right?
Yeah.
We want to have extra, so that way we can share and bless others too. And a lot of our plants even, all this stuff is just keeps coming back thicker and thicker. So we can then put in bigger and bigger areas of it that's going to provide for our family and potentially for others, but then also we can share with others too. And even when I was putting in those that row of cherry bushes, I'm like, yeah, I kind of potted these up to maybe give away to some other people or trade with some people or other stuff like that. But at the moment, I'm just going to put them in the ground here, and just like I got, I don't know, maybe 20 extra cherry bushes off of one bush. Now if I put in 7 other ones, well, that gives me the opportunity to propagate all those later on. So it just gives me the opportunity to have more and more and more. And just like those golden raspberries over there are going to provide quite a row for us over here, I really wish I would have at least taken a picture so you guys could have seen this nice lush green row of it. It was amazing. It was beautiful. I thought, oh, this looks awesome. I can't wait to mulch it. This is going to look beautiful. And now it's all nibbled down. But just like, them growing extra over there gave us an opportunity to put in a big row here. Then as this big row gets bigger and bigger, that'll give us an opportunity to share, just like some years ago, Shalom Acres was able to take their stuff and share it with us. So just keeps growing, just keeps going. That's another thing, guys. Make the most of your property, make the most of your land. If you're able to put in extra long rows of stuff, extra big beds of certain things, especially perennials, boy, there can be wisdom in that. And part of what we're doing here, honestly, if you guys can read between the lines on what I say, we're just preparing ourselves for a day when we may not be able to buy or sell. That's part of what we're doing. I'll probably have a full video coming out on that eventually, but for those of you guys who are listening, you can probably hear what I'm saying. That's about it for this one, guys. We love you. Thank you for watching once again.
Pebble out. Little pebbles out. Thank you for watching.